express backgrounds and objectives of the speech.
This is a speech given by Tim, our president. It's a spontaneous speech. And he's going to do his thing. I'm not going to give away any hints.
How long?
It's 4 to 6 minutes. It's just a dry run of the icebreaker.
Yes, and the title of the speech is Saving Lives. Please help me welcome our president, Tim Webster.
Mark Twain said, "It's a terrible death to be talked to death." And yet we see these tragic living victims throughout our entire business day as they stagger from one mind-breakingly dull meeting to the next mind-breakingly dull meeting. And they chat back and forth like dazed victims out there on the battlefield. "So where are you going to, Harry?" "Oh, I just got done with a 2-hour killer meeting. I got another one to go to. Oh, I can't run. I got to go run to my next meeting. And oh, who's it? It's Bob. Oh, Mr. Yeah, it's a phone meeting. Can you believe that? Oh, man." And some people go through this every day. Now, when I got into business, I wasn't really thinking about that. When I got into Toastmasters, I wasn't really thinking about that sort of thing. I was just thinking about how to claw my way up the corporate ladder. That's all I wanted to do. I was a rough, tough industrialist, and I just wanted to get to that next level and step on anybody else. So I went to the manager. I said I want to be a manager. So I went to the manager and said, "Joe, how do I get to be a manager? You've been doing this for years. How do I make this work?" And Joe said, "Well, you need to give a lot of presentations. So you got to be familiar with that." I said, "Joe, I haven't given presentations before. How do I learn how to do that?" And Joe said, "You know, Tim, you really ought to go to Toastmasters." It was the first time I ever heard about Toastmasters. I didn't know anything about it except somehow it was going to get me into being a manager. I didn't know anything else about it. So when they started up a Toastmasters club where I worked, I was happy. I was surprised. I was working at Arthur Andersen, a company you might have heard of before. Anybody heard of it? Arthur Andersen? Used to be an audit firm for a while. They had some problems with handling trash or something like that, and some issues happened. Yeah, that's where I was. And I was there, and I went to the first meeting, and I remember it vividly because there were about 50,000 people in there. And they're like hanging from the rafters. And I looked around, and there was this person up there, and they were giving speeches. It was really, really exciting. And then they had their second meeting. There was about 5 people there. In the third meeting, there was about 3 people there. And one meeting I went to, there was only me and the other person there, actually. So it wasn't the best attended meeting. But I knew somehow it was going to help me become a manager. And the thing I discovered as I went through Toastmasters, it also helped you become better at speaking. In addition to helping you become a manager, it also helped you become better at speaking. And I discovered that there are a lot of people at my company, and I suspected at other companies, who, be frank about this, weren't that good at speakers. Anybody ever heard somebody presenting who just wasn't that good a presenter? You're thinking, I can do that better. You're thinking, my dog could do that better. You're thinking, Joel, my cat could do that better. There are these people. And so as I went to Toastmasters, I started to understand that there's more going on here than just becoming a better speaker. It was more about helping other people also become better speakers. And I went to that not so great Toastmasters club, and that's a whole other story. And then I went to another Toastmasters club where I had like 2 people in the room. I know I'm a glutton for punishment. I just go to bad Toastmasters club to bad Toastmasters club. And then one day I woke up and looked around and said, there's only 2 people in here. And for the longest time, guests were coming in, and I'd always say to them, run, do not walk, go run to any other Toastmasters club, just get out of here now you can. And I listened to myself, and I realized, what was I doing here? And I left. And that club died, that's a whole other story. And I came to a club that Rocky Romero was starting called Extreme Toastmasters. Heard of it? Anybody? Extreme Toastmasters? It's a pretty good club. Kind of, yeah. It's pretty good. And I was there for a while, and as I became there, I discovered that I could actually do something to help, not so much the speaker, but the audiences. Because I realized audiences out there every day are dying slowly by degrees. And we see it every day. We see it in business. We see it in our different communications. We see it in all those horrible assembly things. We see it in all those situations where we have to go out there in front of other people and sit through this hour-long presentation we have to see. It's just horrible. But these people are slowly dying out there, and we can do something about this. I can do something about that. And that something is Toastmasters. Person by person by person, presenter by presenter by presenter, I can help make a presenter just a little better. Improve them just a little bit. Help them just a little bit more to just move them down that path. And I can be a savior of audiences' lives everywhere. Mr.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing with us these great observations of the Toastmaster experience.